looking up this rental property, keeping the wheels in motion on this investment. Got some really good insight from my real estate professional. Just goes to show you how valuable these people are. These professionals in the industry can really offer some terrific insight. And this particular guy, who's a good friend of mine, is not even really all that familiar with the area. He does do a lot of rural real estate transactions. Very successful investor, but not really familiar with this specific area. And he gave me this really, really long email giving me a breakdown of really almost everything I could possibly think of. And one of the websites that he gave that I want to share with everybody is a website called AirDNA. Now, AirDNA is a fairly new resource for Airbnb, and it will, for a very low monthly price of I think $40 per month, share with you all of the data that you would need, that you could possibly imagine regarding statistics. So we're going to get into that on this property as well, but the purpose of this short video is to go ahead and give the county a call, which was also a recommendation from my agent. He said, go ahead and reach out, find out what they say about the possible zoning options for this 5 acres. Can I add outbuildings and then Airbnb those? Can I reestablish the zoning to multifamily? And he also encouraged me to ask about marijuana growth as well, which, because it is legal here in Colorado, could produce a decent income for this property, given that it has a large 1,600 square foot welding shop on the property too. So a lot of really interesting thoughts here. Now, this deal is not going to be a sure thing, meaning, one of the questions I texted him this morning is, from friend to friend, would you run from this? And he said, I wouldn't necessarily run, but if you could buy it for a stupid low price, the numbers could work. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at. He also said, just give the county a call, find out about the zoning, find out about marijuana, find out about boarding horses, give them the address and see what kind of information you can dig up. So again, this is all new for me. I've never done any of this before. We're just getting counseling, getting mentorship, getting coaching, and following the instructions. So I'm going to go ahead and give the county a call. Her name is Becky Gray. I'm on the website right now. They've got her number here, and this is a relatively small county, so usually they're really helpful when you're dealing with small counties. So let's go ahead and give her a call.
Good morning, this is Becky. May I help you?
Hi, Becky. My name is Matthew Pillmore, and I am a Denver resident that just found a property in Buena Vista that I fell in love with over the weekend, and that's what
we all do.
I hear that, and I'm sure you
fall in love.
I know. I heard that you guys have really just realized you've been discovered, and I don't know how all of you feel about that. I'm sure it's mixed reactions, huh?
That's right. What did you find in Buena Vista?
Well, there is a property that is so gorgeous, but everybody's running away from it because there's this quarry next to it. You may know of the property. It's that 5 acres that sits next to Paul's big gravel quarry over off of County Road 321. It's been for sale for about a year and a half.
Yep, I know right where you're at.
So
it is gorgeous.
It is. I would love to make this place work, but I have to make it affordable. And I wanted to find out from you what I can really count on this property if I move forward on it, because I'm really serious about it. But again, the affordability is.
What are you wanting to do with it? Are you wanting to have 5 acres with a single house on it?
What I would really like to do is find out if it can be rezoned to include perhaps even some small outbuildings. If I was able to put even tiny homes or small little cabins, just a small number, 3-4 cabins on the property that I could Airbnb, or even have maybe gravel workers that are over at the quarry renting from me, or something where I can offset some of the costs of the property. That would be one question, is what is the possibility of being able to zone this for multifamily? The second question would be, what are the regulations in this area regarding marijuana growth? And that is not something I'm involved with or have any knowledge about. I just was encouraged to ask from my real estate agent, who said, listen, there's a 1,600 square foot outbuilding on that property. There's a welding shop there. It could be a good place for that. I don't know. And it's a little, it's enough out of the way. And, I just don't think it really interferes a lot with the city. And I don't know, it could be a good area for that. So I just thought you might be the first person to start with on this. He recommended calling you guys, and I thought, okay, well, let me get on the phone. So.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you called. And it's 5 acres there, and you're wondering if you could zone it multifamily or put some additional housing units on it.
Right. Well, here's the issue. So I want to live there, okay, but I can't. I don't know where I'm going to be in 10 years, and I don't know what's going to happen with this gravel pit. The digging over there is the issue, and apparently, according to the Dumas group over there with my friend inquiring, they said, look, everyone that's walked through loves the house, they fall in love with it, but everybody is terrified of the digging, and nobody knows what's happening. He owns all that land, and he wants to keep digging, according to Gary. And so 10 years from now, it could still be a massive quarry with trucks and everybody just digging. And
that's right.
And that just, who knows? Again, if I want to move, I want to move. And if I'm stuck holding the bag on a 5 acre property that nobody wants to buy, I could hold this thing for years and years. And then next thing you know, that would be when it would be unaffordable, is when I wanted to move out. And so that's why I kind of want to be prepared in advance, knowing ahead of time what I can do right away in order to be ready for something, in any set of circumstances, basically.
And it is just outside of city limits.
I know.
Like across the street from
I know.
city limits. So, okay, so then I can answer, I think, pretty quickly the question about growing marijuana.
Okay.
The county commissioners agreed that there would be a finite number of licenses in this county, and so they've all been filled.
Okay.
And then you can also only grow in industrial zones. So where the property you're looking at wouldn't qualify for that.
Okay. Good to know.
Interestingly enough, even though there's gravel pit right next door, it's an industrial zone.
Yeah.
So that's easy. Now, when it comes to putting additional properties on there, do you know if it's on? It must be a well and a septic, right?
Correct.
Okay. So so the conversation that we're having is how many units can be supported on the same well and the same septic. And I think what we've come up with was a very clear definition just last week, because a lot of people are wanting to create more density in the county, and currently our zoning says you can only go down to 2 acres, and there has to be a well and a septic for every house on the 2 acres. So that means that if you were to add additional dwelling units on there, you'd have to add a well and a septic. Now, we just defined with our engineers last week what that meant. So how big of a housing, because there's houses here that are like 8 bedrooms, right? And they have one well and septic. So if you have like 4 bedrooms, is that the same?
Right.
So we made a very clear definition, and what I could do is just get that to you, so you could see how many more bedrooms you could put on that parcel before you have to add a well and a septic, or if you do add another well and a septic, how many it could support.
Okay.
I would tell you that short-term rentals are one of the issues that we're facing in terms of housing affordability here. So many of our rentals in this county have been gobbled up by short-term rentals, and our workforce can't afford to live here anymore. So if you were proposing to rezone it for that specific purpose, you would likely receive some pushback. If you were proposing to rezone it multifamily so that you could have some other dwelling units on there for workforce housing, and agreed to hold them specifically for people who are working in this county, then I think you would probably have a lot of support in doing that. Interestingly enough. And there's a lot of folks up in BV that don't have a place to live, either Department of Correction employees, or there was resort employees from Mount Princeton and Cottonwood don't usually have enough, and then teachers too. Actually, I was talking to the school district, and they're just thinking about buying houses to put teachers in because there's not enough space. So you wouldn't have a problem if you did make rental units. You would not have a problem getting a year lease with a professional. You know, it used to be here, like back in the 90s when I used to hang out here, it was all river raft guides and ski instructors, and they were kind of rowdy renters. But now you're talking about firefighters and teachers and employees of good businesses. So you shouldn't have any problem doing that. So let me get with our planners and have some conversations and see what kind of real data I can get back with you on in terms of what kind of density you can get in that 5 acres.
Yeah, that would be really helpful to know. And I guess if I'm thinking about it, you know, I guess I want to keep an open mind because who knows what could happen with this. But in my mind, I envision perhaps, you know, kind of a side-by-side tiny house possibility. I mean, those tiny houses are so nice now, and I'm guessing some of the workforce would probably really like that option, given the growth and popularity on that sort of lifestyle. And again, with the affordability of it, the potential might work out. You know, again, I think it all just boils down to numbers. I'm not swimming in money here, so I've got to figure out if it's even affordable, especially if it comes down to adding wells and septics on everything. It's, you know, that's going to really start to get heavy, I would imagine.
It does, I know, and it's one of the initiatives that I've started since I've been here is to do kind of an infrastructure study to figure out where we can plug in, because less than a mile away you have a subdivision that has city water, and the Univista Sanitation District runs right by you, so it would be perhaps easier to plug into that. I don't know. That costs a lot of money as well. So let me talk with our planners.
Okay.
And we'll come up with as much information as we can and get back with you on that. I think that as well, our planners are going to know a little bit more about that gravel pit and can talk to you about the longevity of it and what you might be able to expect in the future. So, Matthew, you said?
That's right.
Okay. Cool. And how'd you find this parcel?
This was actually a friend of a friend.
Curiosity.
A friend of a friend.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was referred to us, and so we, you know, just spontaneously went and checked it out while we were in town, just visiting. You know, I think we've been out there probably 5 times since March. You know, we just love it out there, so we try and get out there every chance we get. So
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Well, good. I will give you a call back, Matthew. I think that our planners are out. Today's Wednesday and tomorrow. So it might not be until Monday that I actually have some kind of solid information for you, but I'll get back with you, before too long, okay?
That would be great. Thank you so much, Becky. You've been really helpful already.
No problem. Thanks for calling.
Thank you. Take care. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Okay. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm good now for a little bit.
Okay, so let me just kind of, I think, recalibrate what could work for us in terms of expectations. I'm not uncomfortable negatively cash flowing the property initially. You know, it's affordable, but you know, I obviously want a long-term game plan here, which is why your, you know, suggestions were so useful, because I want to know what I can potentially do, even if it's a couple of years down the road. Quick answer on the marijuana is that that's going to be a no-go. Now, maybe something changes, dude. I mean, obviously we can sit there and cross our fingers, but that sounds pretty firm at the moment. As far as units, she did say, you know, zoning didn't really sound like it was the issue. It was really more how many units would they allow on the same property using the same well and the same septic. And she said there's a little bit of uncertainty about that right now. She actually just joined their county recently. She's only been out there for, I think she said, a year. And she's kind of stirred up a lot of new initiatives, part of which includes this. And she said right now they require 1 well and septic for each dwelling.
Okay.
Which obviously, if I want to go in there and throw some, you know, tiny houses or cabins on the land, you know, then it gets pretty expensive. Do you know what that process entails to actually put a new well and septic in? I'm assuming it's pretty egregious. Is that expensive and time consuming?
Yeah, I mean, maybe 10 for septic and 10 plus minimum for a well, depending on how deep you need to drill.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would maybe do on that place, if it's so close to town, is see, you know, say you could put in 5 units, say how much would it be to tie into city water and septic, since you've got those neighboring developments, and if you could plug in there for 30 instead of doing 2 or 3 different setups there, that might work given the location. One thing with that though is a lot of these mountain communities, for you to have access to that every month, they'll charge you monthly fees even if there's no usage. So that can kill rentals.
Well, let me tell you what she said about she said if you're looking at throwing, you know, properties on the land for short-term rental purposes, that it will probably get some pushback. She said the short-term rental market there is making it unaffordable for the long-term workers in the area, including from Mount Princeton, including from the correctional facility. She just said they just can't find any places to live because everything's converting to short-term. And so she said if you're really trying to rezone for purposes of getting more short-term tenants, that, you know, we may have an uphill battle. But she did say
maybe you do employee housing.
That's what she said. She said if you actually if you're looking to do this to cater to those employee needs, that we actually might get a lot of support. So she said, you know, and I said, yeah, I mean, well, we started talking a little bit about the tiny house concept. She thinks, you know, yeah, this, you know, it's obviously pretty popular right now, the lifestyle and so forth. And if you can make them affordable enough to where, you know, you're throwing a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 property on there for, you know, I don't know, $750 or $1,000 a month, it at least gives them another option. So she's going to get back to me on Monday. She's going to kind of dig in on a few of our questions, and we'll take it from there. But that's where we're at right now. And I like that idea. You know, that could potentially work as far as a long-term game plan, but then it'll circle back to water and septic again. I mean, I can't be expected to throw another 20 G's at every single dwelling, you know, in order to have
that's not a viable plan there.
Right. So she's going to find out about
right up into the city.
Well, and she said, you know, less than a mile away, there's 100 houses that are tapped into city. She said maybe maybe there's a way of getting access to city water. So
if it's a mile, that'd be expensive.
Well, and that's what she said too. Yeah.
See what she says when she gets back to you. But I keep plugging away at it for a little longer.
Yeah. So she'll get back to me on Monday, and I'll let you know.
Right on.
Thanks again, man. A lot of really, really great suggestions. Very helpful.
Yeah, of course. It's an interesting place, so we'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Okay.
Okay, sounds good, man.
Okay, buddy. Talk to you soon. Bye. Well, there's a chance we're biting off more than we can chew here. One of the things I value the most is simplicity, and this does sound like it's getting rather complicated, but who knows? You know, I mean, we do really, really love the area. This is certainly a personal use consideration as well, not just an investment decision. I also value lifestyle design above everything else, including monetary returns. So I guess we'll just kind of wait and see. So we're later in the day now and have since been doing more digging into this specific investment property. And I just want to emphasize again how important my coaching team is to me. I rely on mentors and coaches. You heard my phone conversation with Andy, who has become a dear friend, and somebody that I trust so much because he's purchased a whole bunch of these rural houses in the past, and he's already offered me at least a half a dozen different ideas that I would have never thought of before. Really serious considerations. And so has the team on my financing. So I have a team of people that help analyze and structure the finances side. And there is, some reason to consider an alternative to the home equity line of credit that I'm also in pursuit of today. Now, I've not heard any responses and was told not to expect one until probably a little bit later this week. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much experience I gain. I am always seeking more opinions and viewpoints, people who have more experience. There's just too many moving pieces these days, and things change so quickly. It doesn't matter how smart you were about something before. That's something that you were really smart about might become irrelevant fairly quickly. So we have to stay on top of things, and the way we stay on top of things is by grabbing hands and uniting. So I'm now looking at an alternative to the home equity line of credit and running the numbers. It appears that we might be able to free up an additional $1,000 per month in cash flow should the property actually make sense. So while I'm continuing to dissect possibilities as far as what I could expect through AirDNA with respect to Airbnb or short-term rentals like VRBO, what are the possibilities of adding these smaller structures on the property as discussed with the county? I'm gonna keep those pieces moving forward while at the same time structuring the financial aspect, including but not limited to taking a hit on the inquiry that is happening because of this HELOC. So I am pursuing the application on the HELOC still, and I am sacrificing an inquiry on my credit report, given that I have built my credit report and scores to such a strong level. It really won't have a lot of impact, and it's worth it. It's worth the risk. So getting the inquiry for the HELOC, we're gonna see if we can get qualified for it. At the same time, we're running numbers as a comparison on a cash out refinance. Now, I had justified the strengths behind the home equity line of credit in our previous video segment on this specific story because of the flexibility of reuse of that. And I'm not wanting to avoid a home equity line of credit on this property. However, it might be better for us to take the cash out under a longer term fixed lower interest rate, because the margin against prime is 2% on this, bringing it today at somewhere approaching 7% or at 7%. And we can do better. We can do quite a bit better under a long-term fixed loan. And since we already have a property identified, that money wouldn't sit idle in the bank for long. It would immediately be applied towards down payment. Now, that poses the issue that we wouldn't have excess, right? If we're just doing a cash out refinance, I'm not gonna take a significant portion above what I need for that down payment. And because it would be a primary residence, we're just planning on putting 20% down on that. We're using it as a primary, but trying to short-term rental it when we're not in the area when we're out of town. So anyway, I just wanted to, again, continually insist that you guys build a team. If you think that's salesy, then just please don't work with us. I'm not trying to sell you on VIP. I'm just saying, look, I build a team and I try to be the best in the business when it comes to the art of proper borrowing and credit management and how to repay loans the right way and really truly bank the way we should have been taught how to bank. I'm just trying to be an example of that, trying to be the best at that in the world. So I spent a lot of time committed to it. I realize there will always be people better than me, so I'm always trying to grow and improve, and I still have a team. And I couldn't do even 10% of what I try to do without a team. So thank you to all those folks. If you're one of my teammates that has helped me along the way, I could not appreciate you anymore. I hope I tell you enough. And for those of you that are just trying to get off the ground, work towards a team as fast as you can. So I'll let you know what happens on the loan. Signing out for now.